Oh, hey there. Thanks for clicking on this video. Today I have in front of me 4 vintage reels. I don't know much about any of these, but I'm going to pick one, the one that's in best working condition as is, and see if we can get it cleaned up and working like new. That one spins pretty good, actually. So this is a compact Maverick 3. Does the bale work? Pretty stiff. Yeah, this is a contender. Let me check these ones. Oh, this one's super stiff. Okay, yeah, definitely not that one. The spool's bottoming out on that. Ooh, made in Japan. This one does not appear to have anti-reverse. If it does, something's wrong with it. I'm gonna put these ones aside, and we're gonna stick with that Maverick. I'm gonna take apart the spool first. This little gear come off. It doesn't appear like it. I forgot. This is a right-handed reel, so all of the nuts and bolts, at least on the what is that? The main shaft, I think. They're all in reverse. So lefty tighty, righty loosey. This little gear must come off. Let's see if we can lift this washer first. I think it's just like a little stopper. Hopefully that's what's stopping it from coming out. There's probably somebody watching this right now who knows how to do this properly, cringing. And for them, I'm sorry. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but I can't really get that off. And I don't want to force it. So what I'm going to do is try and just clean all this up inside here without removing it. I do have a degreaser, so I'm going to use some of this. Getting all the nooks and crannies. Okay, well, that looks pretty good. Okay, I want to get into the gearbox because that's the fun part. See what's going on in here. Okay, a moment of truth. Let's see what it looks like in here. Cool. So pretty clean, actually. And surprisingly, like this grease, this is still wet, like it's not dried up. This is the only screw I see so far. So I'll undo this and see where it takes me. It looks like this screw's maybe holding it all together. That is why I have those forceps. Okay, I can pull this whole spool apart here, actually. I'm doing it. It's all very simple stuff, like none of this is particularly complicated. There's some washers in there. I'm gonna make sure they go back where they belong. This is our main gear here. Maybe attached. Yeah, by the handle. Okay, don't want to lose these washers here. Okay, I gotta take the handle apart. I wonder if I just hold this gear still, I can twist this. Yep. Try and keep all the parts for the handle assembly separate. There are some washers on that, so I'm going to keep that upside down so they stay where they belong. So, this, like I said, this reel's pretty clean inside. And the grease is still all wet. Sometimes when you open these up, it's all dry. So I think I got that opened up about as much as I need to. I can clean it up now. I'm going to use the degreaser. Okay, the inside of that is nice and clean. Set you aside for a second. Coming up is the main gear. I'll take this washer off just to clean it and put it back on. Okay, nice and shiny. This is the pinion gear. The handle connects to the main gear. The main gear connects to the... I'm sorry. If you are still here after that, thank you. There's a tiny little shaving on the edge of that. I'm actually going to clean that up. Got a file here. Just smooth that out. Nice. Oh, I gotta get this washer cleaned up and back on that main gear. Put a little bit of grease on that. Just a bit. Okay, this gucky thing here is gross. Got a lot of grease on it. Just nastying up my cloth here. Okay, this little piece here, which I don't know what it's called, is all cleaned up. What do I got left? The shaft. I know how to clean a shaft. I'm sorry again. Clean up these washers. Just getting all these little tiny pieces cleaned up. Scoop off some of this gunk here. This doesn't need to be here. Okay, give this another little wipe down. Stuff's all cleaning up real nice. I think I'm gonna do the drag now. I think that's just a little clicker for the drag. This makes the noise that we all love. Well, I love it. I don't know if you love it. So I'm gonna pop these out one by one. Those drag washers. Try and keep them in order that they come out in. Be interesting to see what the material they use for the drag is. You know what I think it is? I think it's leather. I could be wrong. This looks like leather to me. I tell you what though, I'm gonna double check something real quick right now, because I have like a drag kit that I use to put a carbon drag on one of my other reels. And I wonder if I can modify one of those extra carbon washers to replace this leather one. That would significantly increase the smoothness of the drag. Give me a moment, I'm gonna look at that. So the obvious problem I see is the hole in the middle there is much larger than this one. Although I'm not necessarily sure that would create a problem. As long as the diameter is cut properly, it'll keep it centered in that. It just means there's going to be slightly less drag material. You know what? I'm going to do it because it's just going to make this interesting. See what happens. So I have to cut this wheel. Make sure that's perfectly centered. This might hurt some of you, so if it does, I apologize. I'm also going to use my Leatherman scissors. Probably not ideal, but I'm going to cut it slightly bigger than this leather disc, and then just file it down to size so it's perfectly round. It's a little tiny bit thinner, so I'm not sure if that will impact it greatly. I wonder if anyone has ever done this before. Putting carbon drag in a vintage reel. I can't see why it wouldn't work. Okay, there's a little pin in there. I wasn't going to remove that because I didn't have to before, but it might make it easier to get this in. And the more snug the fit, the better. I also want to clean out inside there. Okay. Do you fit? I'm going to have to press it down in there. We'll see if this works. Okay, I don't want to lose that, just in case. I want to clean this spool up a little bit. So I'm just going to finish cleaning up these last little bits and the outside of the reel. I still have to clean the bale wire and make sure that's running nice and smooth. But I think I can actually do that with the reel put back together. Get all these parts nice and shiny. This mechanism here seems pretty stiff. Where's my screwdriver? Most definitely springs in here, so I gotta be careful. It comes off pretty easily. So it's just the one spring. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. I might put some grease on that, to be honest. Might help it spring a little bit better. I actually don't think I need to take this apart, so what's happening? I'll see if I can zoom in. This piece here is rubbing up on the body of the spool, and or I'm sure this is not called the spool, but whatever, it's rubbing up there and it's actually getting stuck. It doesn't seem like that's supposed to happen, so what I'm going to do is actually bend that piece just a little bit so it doesn't lose that spring. I don't want to go too hard. There we go. Clean up the bale wire, clean up the screw, A lot of this stuff has just some like surface rust on it. I'm not cleaning that off. I want it to look vintage. Put a little bit of grease. Should I put grease or oil? I'm gonna put oil on this. Okay. Put that back in there. Just figure out how to put that on there. Okay, it sits like this. To open it, I'm sure that somebody knows what my problem is here. Just having a hard time trying to figure it out. Okay, I'm stumped. I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna look on YouTube, see if I can figure this out. That's what we gotta do. This is just taking me too long now. Okay. Watch the video. Second Chance Tackle. He does all kinds of vintage reel videos. So one thing he did was remove this. Let's see. That's what happens when you get these things started. You gotta figure out how to finish it. Not too complicated, thankfully. Okay, so put that back in here. Put the screw on just a little bit though. All right. Twist this around. Hey, tighten this down. Then get this wire set. There's some crud in there. So I think this is correct. That was so much quicker. Just looking up a quick video to figure out how to do it properly. Oh yeah. Look at that action. Now I gotta get this little guy back in here. Actually, it does not appear like it's gonna be too difficult. But well, those are famous last words, right? That'll be easy. So a lot of this little tiny stuff you're obviously not going to be able to see. So what I would say is with these little springs, just pay attention. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Like new. Oh, I'm liking that. Okay, cool. I think we can start putting this thing back together. We're just gonna make sure all the little parts that need grease, any moving parts, metal on metal, it's gonna need a little bit of grease. And the gears, obviously, you're gonna need grease as well. Main gear's gonna go in first. I got washers here, so a little bit of grease underneath this washer. Just a bit. Put that down. Give it a spin. Grease in this gear here. This you can be more liberal with. I'm going to put that back in. So get this handle back on. Righty loosey, lefty tighty. Gonna get some grease down here on this little lever as well. Probably should have done that before. But grease up the main gear. I'm gonna put it on the teeth And also on the face of it here, a good amount. Doesn't need to be like too thick, but about that much, right? Yeah. This gear went in like that, but it's got those 3 washers. So I'm gonna put a little bit of grease in between all 3 of these. One, two, three, and a little bit more because it's going to sit flush with the inside of the body. Looks like these have to go on there first. I hope you can see what I'm doing there, because they won't pass that main gear. That's okay. Yeah, there we go. We're turning. So just line up that little pin there. Need some grease on that little pin that this thing sits in. Right in here. Oh, before I do that, I gotta remember, I'm gonna put this on first. That was close. That washer under there. Stay where you belong, pinion gear. Okay, a little bit of grease under here. Got those washers rubbing. Okay, I think I can put this back on now. Got to put a little bead of grease just around that to keep it kind of watertight. Grease helps repel the water. Don't need too much. I'm going to tighten that nut on the inside of the spool housing. Again, just being careful because it's brass. Okay, it's tight. That spins. Anti-reverse seems to work. Little red washer goes there. Ooh, that drag feels smooth. Okay, let's finish getting the handle on. Looks like a working reel to me. That works properly. Oh, that works even better. Oh, it's great. So when I open up the bale wire and engage the spool, bale wire closes. That's what it's supposed to do. Beauty. Cool. Well, that's it. I like this kind of stuff. If you like this kind of stuff, please let me know in the comments. Like the video, subscribe for some more. Next time you see it, hopefully I'll be fishing with it. Fish on! That's the sound I want to hear.